Total War Shogun 2, perhaps the last Total War game in the series, where each class has use in battle. Unlike Rome 2, which relies on heavy infantry, and Attila, which relies on light cavalry, Shogun 2 relies on a sort of balance. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what I believe this balance is, and I will be talking about each unit classes except the special ones. The 5 classes in Total War Shogun 2 are heavy infantry, spear infantry, missile infantry, sword infantry, and cavalry, which are then split between Ashigaru, samurai, and warrior monks. A good balance to me is having an army that can deal with most situations. Of course, nothing is wrong with having too much of one thing if you are specialized in it, but you should have other units that can complement it as well. That way, you can create a synergy between your army. As of the making of this video, I've classified heavy infantry as the most offensive unit class in the game. However, this is simply because we don't know how armor works, but there are theories that melee defense is negated when you're attacked from the rear. So as of the making of this video, they will be the most offensive, and cavalry will be the most offensive. Make note of this chart because I will be referring to it a few times. Heavy infantry are useful for one thing: versatility. When you need a unit that can fight infantry and cavalry, heavy infantry are the way to go. The most notable heavy infantry are the samurai and warrior monk variants. Heavy infantry are good when you don't know if you're fighting mostly infantry or cavalry in melee, but you need something that can go against both. Naginata samurai are notorious for being a vanguard unit and tanking bows. They boast the highest armor in the game, but are one of the slowest units as well. Warrior monks, on the other hand, are faster than most units, and boast better melee stats. Heavy infantry, however, are not invincible. Heavy infantry can tank engagements, but they cannot always win them, especially in 2 versus 1 situations. If you are using War Cry, but you are losing, it will not have any effect. Spears, on the other hand, form the backbone of your army. They excel when defending in general, but mostly against cavalry, as they also have a high bonus versus cavalry. The best spear unit, arguably, is the Yari Ashigaru. They excel in Yari Wall, which allows you to do many tactics, including the hammer and ankle. Yari Wall is mostly useful for denying areas to infantry and cavalry alike, but is very susceptible to missile infantry in general. Missile infantry are units that fight at a range. They have both offensive and defensive capabilities. Offensively, they can weaken an enemy before a charge. Defensively, they can weaken an enemy before you are charged. However, most do not have much melee capabilities. Missile infantry are usually susceptible to cavalry. Therefore, they are paired up with spears so that the spears can deal with said cavalry. Matchlocks excel at dealing with samurai because they deal 2 damage per hit. However, they can deal with any infantry or cavalry unit that is in their arc of range. Matchlocks, however, have a long reload, and usually in a prolonged fight will lose to bows. Bows have longer range than matchlocks, however they do less damage. Still, this makes them a preferred skirmishing unit when dealing with other infantry. Though units often have issues when dealing with Naginata samurai, bulletproof samurai, and especially cavalry. Cavalry can easily beat missile infantry in a melee fight. Fire arrows are better at dealing with armored units. Whistling arrows are good for a morale debuff, as well as a reloading debuff. Although expensive, the best unit in this class goes to low warrior monks for their superior range. Melee infantry are the soul of your army, and they will form the core of your offensive strategy. Very few armies can be offensive without melee infantry. Melee infantry have the numbers and charge bonus required to deal with all other infantry. Katana samurai are the best unit in this class. They have the armor necessary to tank bows, and they have good melee attack and charge stats. Melee infantry excel at 1v1 engagements with other infantry. However, if it is more than one they are facing, or if cavalry are involved, then they start to suffer. It is also important to note that a stationary Yari Ishiguro unit in Yariwa will be able to hold off a Katana Samurai unit. This makes Katana Samurai a more high-risk, high-reward unit when facing these sort of infantry compared to bow units such as Bow Samurai, as they can either not win or win decisively. Also, as mentioned before, melee infantry will not do well against cavalry, and that goes double for Katana Samurai against Katana Cavalry. Cavalry not only offer you the most mobility in your army, they also offer the most offensive capabilities. Yari Cav are often cited as the most cost-efficient cavalry unit. However, other cavalry units also have different uses and can be as cost-efficient. If you pair Katana Cavalry or Bow Cavalry to melee infantry, then you will be able to beat them easily. However, the biggest bane to almost every cavalry unit is spears. Spears have a high bonus versus cavalry, and it's always a good idea to keep your cavalry away from spear units as long as you can. Explaining how to balance yourself in Shogun 2 is quite hard, but I found some replays of mine that explain it better than I can. If I did have to explain it, I would simply say that you should be able to counter every threat you face to a certain extent. Having a balanced army is also good because it gives you more options than a specific army. One of my biggest weaknesses is my lack of reliance on bow units. One of the biggest reasons why I don't use a lot of bow units is because I like to get into melee as quickly as possible. Ironically, my lack of use of bow units is exactly why I can't get into melee as quickly as possible, as I can easily be kited. With a balanced army, you don't have to be strong everywhere. You just have to be strong in some places and then work around your weaknesses. When it comes to missiles, I bring both matchlocks and bows usually, because you never know whether or not you're going to be fighting mostly samurai or mostly a Shigaryu or warrior monks. But in both cases, matchlocks work anyway. I think the best way to overcome your disadvantages with a balanced army is to have timing and momentum. A completely offensive army will fall to timing, and a completely defensive army will fall to momentum. It's also very useful to have your opponent dance to your tune. That really helps your balance to be one of your strong points. As you can see here, timing is very important. I'd also like to mention using synergy for your tactics. Using cavalry and sword infantry together can allow you to be very offensive and push through a lot of defensive setups. Using spears and heavy infantry can allow you to block certain areas. But sometimes if you fight another balanced army, you will come down to a prolonged fight, and it comes down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. All you have to do is remember which class beats which, and just make less mistakes than your opponent, and you should at least score a close victory. If you made it this far, I just want to thank you for watching the video. This is just a draft I'm doing. I'm going to be making more professional videos in the future, hopefully. And I know it's a bit sloppy. I just put a few videos together and spoke through a microphone, but I'm promising you I'm going to be doing better in the future. It's been over a decade since I've used Vegas Pro. I'm still getting some of the newer things from Vegas Pro 9. If you watched my really old videos, you'll see that I used Vegas Pro 9. It was actually the demo, but I think I'm getting better at doing recording and all that other stuff. I have a ton of replays for Shogun 2, Attila, and Rome 2, and I'm hoping to get more in the future. I just thought I'd share it with you guys in a cinematic way, and hopefully I do more videos like this, but just like with more value in them. There are plenty of things I could talk about on Shogun 2, most of which I've never seen on YouTube, such as special units like fire rockets, Kisho Ninja, even the artillery, and of course I will be talking about Fall of the Samurai and balance with them. I've also noticed that no one has really gone into depth on Rise of the Samurai units in multiplayer. That's also something that's on my mind. I'm also a big fan of blitzkrieg tactics. After all, you know that I like being offensive, so it makes sense. But I also can do defensive tactics, like defense in depth. I could also talk about that in the future. However, most likely not, my next video will probably be on Fall of the Samurai. Unless, of course, people want Rise of the Samurai. But Fall of the Samurai, I feel, is more rich in what you can do. So most likely than not, I will be talking about each unit classes and how I use them to my advantage in offensive and defensive ways. So again, guys, thanks so much for watching. It means a lot to me, and hopefully in the future I will be doing better. Before I end this video, I just thought I'd show you this replay. I've had it for a while, maybe 5 or 6 months. It's basically me implementing my blitzkrieg tactics. If you want the full video, I can definitely upload it separately. But yeah, anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I see you in the next one.
Our general is in grave danger, my lord!